So Zwift had just announced a huge slate of new software features coming to Zwift, but also some hardware things as well. And it may seem odd to announce it here at Zwift Community Live in Mallorca, a place where virtually all of the rides are happening outdoors. Well, Zwift does have a station set up with a bunch of Zwift rides there, and so that'll probably help make a little bit of sense as to why Zwift is having an outdoor event. But for those not familiar, Zwift Community Live, this is the first year of this event. About 280 people signed up and paid to come here to Mallorca for this event. In my case, I just drove across the island since I live at the other end. But this event is all about the Zwift community. There's a bunch of Zwift community things going on. There's daily rides, like 3 or 4 different ride lengths for every day to all kind of the famous rides around here. There's programs of evening chats and all sorts of things going on. And of course, there's a bunch of industry people here as well. The past 2 days have been kind of media days, and then now it transitions to like the general public days. Now, with that said, let's dive into the very first item, which is new hardware. We all love new hardware, right? Especially new Zwift ride hardware. By far, the biggest complaint about Zwift Ride when it was first announced was the lack of crank length options. There was only one crank length option at 170 millimeters. Now though, there's a bear claw design that you can add as an upgrade kit. So most notably, it is not going to be included as a stock option, at least now or for the near term to medium term. But for now, you can buy as an upgrade for $100. And if you already have a Zwift Ride, you can also buy that as well starting April 16th. Note though that you need to have a couple tools to install this. You can see the tools right there. The most notable one though is the square taper removal tool, as well as a torque wrench. And in under 27 seconds, here is the entire installation process. First off, you use a 5-inch screwdriver to remove the little cap, then use the Allen key to remove the bolt, then put the square taper removal tool into there. That's the tool right there. After that, you can go ahead and just simply take a wrench, take the whole right side off, it just pops right off. Then you got the new right side with the bear claw. Then you got just a simple bolt in there, crank the crap out of that thing with the torque wrench, flip over to the other side and do the exact same thing. Remove that, put the pulley tool in there, then put the new one on, and then crank it down with the torque wrench as opposed to just your muscle meter. See? Simple. Okay, and a quick note, if you're finding this video interesting and useful, just simply watch it all the way through. That is the only thing the YouTube gods care about these days, and it really does help with this video and the channel quite a bit. Okay, so with the hardware pieces covered, let's talk about the software changes. And the big announcement here is that outdoor rides now count. It's as really as simple as that. Outdoor rides now count for XP and a bunch of other features in the game to show you overall cycling workload. So in the Zwift Companion app, at the top there, you now have a new basic chart, and that'll show you everything from outdoor rides to indoor rides. As of launch, that includes both Garmin and Wahoo bike computers, and then coming this summer also Hammerhead bike computers, and they say that others will probably join down the road as well, but that's sort of what they're launching with. Note that you will need to relink your Garmin or Wahoo accounts to Zwift. I say relink because they have to add additional permissions to go ahead and get your file from Garmin or Wahoo into Zwift. So definitely do that, otherwise you won't see the stats there. So the relinking only takes a couple seconds and then you're off and running. It'll backport in the last 90 days of activity. So if you have anything that's in the back there, it'll go ahead and pull that 90 days into your Zwift account, and then it'll start counting. And then from that, you can see on the companion app right there, here is last week's my total ride time. In this case, it's not deduplicating some of my rides because I have multiple bike computers recording different things, but that's all right. Dedupe is coming down the road, as well as the ability to delete extra ones from here. Should be there on launch day next week. It's not there right this second, but so the top left-hand side, you see your trending score right now, 69. Effectively, that is their version of CTO. At the top, you see the weekly time goal. Your goal can be different things. You can have a time-based goal, a distance-based goal, in either kilometers and miles. You can have a calories-based goal, a stress points goal, or a kilojoules goal. The default goal is time-based, like you see right there. So you see that hours as well as minutes. And if I switch to today's week, you can see at the bottom, there's a trending status there. It now shows me as overreaching. You'll also see productive there and other metrics, very similar to what you would see on Garmin. And if I tap on any given day, I can see how many extra XP that I got from that particular ride. So in this case, yesterday's ride, it wasn't actually 7 hours and 6 minutes. That was me having 2 different bike computers recording that. So it's effectively doubling that up. But by the time this goes live next week, I can delete the extra ones out. Now, if you're an active Zwift member, you can go ahead and maintain your streak. You do need to be a paying member to maintain streaks as well as to earn those XP. You'll get 5 XP per kilometer for outdoor rides. There's also both a 1,000 XP cap per ride or a 200 kilometer cap per ride effectively. Zwift says that's not like a hard limit at this point in time for them long term. That's just where they're starting off with things because they believe people will game the system a bit. So that's kind of why they have that there. And notably, outdoor rides do not earn drops and the mileage does not accumulate towards any of the bike upgrades. And the reason for this, of course, is to minimize some of the gaming of this in a bad way, where people might just turn this on and fly across the country or something and then have 3,000 miles worth of XP or something like that in 6 hours. So this kind of is an attempt to mitigate some of those concerns. Now, coming later on this summer, they're going to be adding a fitness trends feature. This allows you to see your historical fitness metrics, your training score and historical data, your training status historical data, as well as the current streak details, and to see all that over a much longer time period, 1 week, 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, year, etc. Now, one of the things to note though is that as of right now, none of this applies to runners, but Zwift says, don't worry, that's coming later this year as well, where all these things will also apply to running. And then with that comment, they mentioned that, their focus will be definitely on purely cycling and running. There's always like the forever hope of rowing or something like that's going on. That's not going to be here. It's going to be cycling and running. That are going to be the focus areas for Zwift going forward. Okay, so next up, some new pavement, or rather new rocks, cobblestones to be precise, in Zwift. So the Zwift France map is being expanded with 8 additional new routes in it, and then with that, some amount of kilometers of additional pavement, cobbles, whatever you want to call it. They're not specifying exactly how many kilometers. It sounds like roughly 5 to 8. That's opening up a bunch of new routes. Notably, when you're riding these cobbles, you'll see the whole screen shake, just like the real cobbles. It'll suck just as much as it does in real life, especially if you have a Tax Neo device, which can replicate those cobbles feel. You're just vibrating along. But also for France, they're adding the sector performance heads-up display. So basically the same that you would have seen on the grade and the climb is now showing up in the France Ventop climb as well. So it's nice to see that being expanded to other areas. Next up, another quickie here, which is the addition of a bunch of new metrics, including new sensor support. So you'll now be able to pair up your core body temperature sensor into Zwift. You'll be able to see that data as well as the heat strain metrics to the top left-hand HUD there. In addition to that, they've added more HUD fields. So they're adding left-right balance. So if you have a power meter capable of left-right balance, you can see that there. They're also adding a new ride average watts a kilogram metric there, as well as your average speed over the course of the entire ride, as well as your average weighted power. Now, in the case of the core sensor, as well as the left-right balance, all that data is pumped into the fit file. So if you're then syncing that off to other platforms like Training Peaks or Garmin or whatever the case is, you should be able to see that data in those platforms because it is written properly to the fit file as an extension, just like every other platform does in terms of showing that particular core data. Next up, they've added a lap button on the action bar or the up button on Zwift Play or Zwift Ride controllers, and that will simply take laps and then show those lap splits on the left-hand side. This then will also be written to the fit file. So again, if you have any other platform out there, it writes in the standard way, just that any other device would write to the fit file, so you can go ahead and look at those laps later on. This is super useful if you want to do hill repeats or just want to take laps for different sections of the course, different efforts or whatever the case is, just like you would on a bike computer. You now have that in Zwift. And then last but not least, for streaks, you're getting a friend. You're getting Scotty the Squirrel. So Scotty the Squirrel came out on April 1st in people's back pockets. Well, Scotty's been around for a long, long time, but he ended up in people's back pockets on April 1st. But going forward, you'll now get him for streaks. So a 4-week streak will get you a Scotty medallion, a 12-week streak will get you in the back pocket, and the 24-week streak will get you an animated Scotty. Now, in case you don't like Scotty, you've got something against squirrels, whatever the case is, you can turn off Scotty in the settings. I don't know who doesn't like Scotty, but apparently people were upset about that on April 1st, and so Zwift is ensuring there's an option to be Scotty free. I mean, I don't know what people have against squirrels, but just keep Scotty in your pocket, okay? Anyways, there you go. Complete look at what is announced here at Zwift Community Live. There's still plenty more days of riding to go on. In fact, the event really starts kind of tonight. There's been some media days beforehand with riding and whatnot, but so far, this looks like a cool event. It'll be interesting to see what people's responses to this. With that, thanks for watching and have a good one.